register because there is the coordination of the logistics of transportation. So another piece of that transportation is if students are registering also for another summer camp, let's just say they are going to Girls Inc. So from 8 to 12, there'll be that school time window, but then there is transportation not only available to home, but to any community partner that is having an extended daycare or extended summer camp.
Wow. So my daughter or granddaughter could go to school during the morning and then leave there after lunch and go over to Girls Inc. till it's time to get picked up.
Yep. And they will take care of that whole logistics piece. So yeah,
Wow.
and this is really a perfect example of that that collective impact and really all of us pulling together. It is a new experience that is starting this year, but is likely going to move forward and be incorporated into summer moving forward. So we've done some research, and it's going to take more than a summer to recover all of that learning loss that from COVID. So we're looking at this being a long-term project. So another piece of that is that this district is receiving some CARES funding, so they are able to support partners that will need supplies or any type of assistance as well. And there's also some funds still available from the COVID Response Fund, which this opportunity would be a perfect option for that. So, but fortunately, a lot of the partners have really stepped up and are not asking for anything. So, they're excited about bringing these lesson plans. A lot of them have been closed for some time or limited capacity because of the the restrictions. But with some of those being lifted, it's really exciting to be able to see the kids and to get in there and to operate. Still taking some precautions to keep everyone safe and healthy, but it's an experience that we haven't had for quite some time that we're looking forward to. And I'll be at one of the schools too, so I'm excited about that. And I see some people on the call will probably be there too.
Yeah, it's just very exciting to see that this is the silver lining over the pandemic of, like you said, more than a year. It showed us that we can do things differently and things don't have to be always the way they were. So that's really exciting to see something really, really positive come out of that.
Right. And I think for so long, when we look at that enrichment piece, at least, so many of our partners and after school summer camps operate on their own, really. And, not to say that they're silos, but there is some sort of unspoken competition. But this has been a very collaborative effort. We have all been on these calls together and really talking about what we can offer and what questions we have, and that's the great thing about it, is that it's sparked up some dialogue between partners that really serve the same purpose. So it's really nice to have everyone coming together.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes. There was a question that says, I keep my grandson during the summer. Can he attend?
If your grandson is enrolled in Muskogee County School District, yes. Now I do know that Phoenix City is offering a similar experience. And it is a requirement, I believe, through the Department of Education that they do have summer opportunities. So whatever district he is in, he should be able to attend. Hopefully it's Muskogee County.
But my understanding is even if the grandchild may or may not be a resident in Muskogee County, they can still attend some of the summer programs with the other partner agencies.
Absolutely. The other partner agencies, they can. Now, the thing with the district is that they obviously have to register and be a student registered at that school, because that's going to determine which school you go to. So again, it's not offered at every school. I do have a list if it's helpful to share, but a lot of schools are actually combining. So with our community schools strategy, we are at Dorothy Height and they are standing independent. So all of the students that are currently attending Dorothy Height will go to Dorothy Height. But there are some schools that are combining. I know like my daughter is at Richards, and Richards is actually going to be at Arnold. So it'll be 2 schools combined in one.
So if you could share that list, we'll be glad to share it with everyone.
Sure. I will do that.
Any other questions for Pam? I don't see any in the chat.
I'm not used to not seeing everybody.
The shy group.
Y'all don't like the camera.
There's Cheryl.
Hey.
Katie was on earlier. Any other questions for Pam before we move on? There's Katie.
Yay, people.
Thank you, Pam, for coming and joining us today. And we look forward to, in the future, hearing more about community schools and some of the other initiatives you've got going on. We know you've been a busy bee, putting some things in place.
All good things, though.
I'm just so excited that I mean, as a parent and as a grandparent, you know, the summer programs were always, it was tough with transportation. It really, really, really was. And you know, it's like you leave work at lunchtime to go pick up a kid from this place and take them there, and everybody here, I'm sure I'm singing to the choir. So just knowing that the kid could get the child could get the you know, the support and maybe a little bit of recovery during the morning, and then, you know, play in the afternoon.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So great.
Right, and it's free. It's free.
That $3.99, our favorite word.
$3.99.
Thank you so much, Pam. You don't have to go away, but we're gonna go ahead and move on.
I'm gonna hang out a little bit.
Okay. Please do. Please do. All right, I'm gonna go back to the screen here
Thanks, Pat.
and go over some things. The next thing we need to go over are program matrices. This is for our coordinated entry. And thank you, Terry. Terry finds always the most wonderful little, you know, clip art and slides here that are really cute. Oh, I was supposed to say, may the 4th be with you. Haha. I'm not a Star Wars person, but that was really, really cute. But talking about coordinated entry and the program matrix, you know, that's how we make referrals. I say we, meaning Tammy and Terry and I'm sorry, Terry and Tammy and Kathy in coordinated entry. And so speaking of Kathy and Tammy, I'm going to hush. Hold on, let me go back to the screen I was supposed to be sharing there. I'm going to let Kathy take it away and talk about some things in the matrix and how we're going to send some stuff out for you guys to review and correct and update and everything else. So Kathy, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Kathy, and I am one half of the coordinated entry team here at Home for Good. Tammy is the other half. We were just touching base about referrals, getting things done the way they needed to be done, proper referrals made to the proper place. It's very important that we have organization names, the program types, everything that's listed on here. These things are very important that we have updated as often as possible in order for Tammy and I to make the proper referrals. We get phone calls in constantly, and getting them to the right place is what we want to do, because who wants to have a client that's already upset or, you know, being with their situation and just having to wait longer due to the fact of something as simple as a dash missing in an email. So we are trying to collect as much information as possible from all the agencies. Going forward, there will here soon in the future, there will be we will be sending out a copy of the program sheets so that we can get everyone's updated information to get
Kathy, those actually are ready to go out tomorrow as soon as tomorrow afternoon, once we go over what they look like today. Yeah.
Yay. We have been working diligently on how to get this done in an orderly fashion. The way that what we're hoping to do is to make sure that when Tammy and I are making referrals, or anybody, to the organizations that accept referrals, that we are filtering out basically as a by need, what the client has with them, what they have. That way they're not going to organization ABC and the client's unable to take care of themselves. And then it's rejected and it's just a back and forth process. We want to make sure that this is taken care of quickly as possible in order to better serve our community.
Hey, Kathy, did you want to talk about some of this information here before we pull up the spreadsheet?
I can. Not everyone who is here may not be someone that we make referrals to. However, it's very important that we have the organization name, organization ABC. We're just going to use that. The program name will be broke down by what program you have, rapid rehousing, program types, stuff like that. Intake hours, how the times that you are available or the referrals will be accepted. We also want to make sure that anyone who is obviously needs some type of handicap help, they have what they need there as well. The average length of stay is very important. Some people are permanent. Some people are ready to move out. Some programs, as you all know, have a specific time. We want to have a client out within 30 days. Bed counts are huge whenever we are trying to find someone a place to go right now, especially if they're coming out of some type of hospital or facility. That is one of our biggest barriers whenever we get someone coming from the hospital. 24-hour shelter and third shift workers. We do have some clients that are working, that are in still a shelter. They need to be let in and out. We have to know if that's okay, if that's a thing. Point of contact. I can't stress enough. Point of contact. If staff changes all the time, everybody knows that things change. I've got to have that person, or we've got to have that person. If you are the overseer of a facility with 3 different programs and 3 different people run each program, please make sure that they are listed so one person's not getting bombarded unless you want all the referrals and you disperse them yourself. That's up to you. We also need to know about the barriers, which facilities take males, females, and families. Also target population B, this is a thing, HIV, domestic violence, special requirements like that. You have to be disabled to get in, etc. Eligibility. We need to know what your eligibility is for your program. That way we, again, are making sure we get the clients to the correct facility or agency. Documentation is another huge thing. As we all know, a lot of the homeless community does not have all of their identification. They may have bits and pieces, 1 or 2. What all do they need to have to enter into your facility? Gender identification. This is, do you accept people who, are transgender, etc.? Sobriety is another huge one. So we absolutely need to know that. A ban out list. There's been agencies that usually if a client is banned and we make the referral, we're not aware of it. Real quick to get, we do get the Appendix J. That's great. That helps us out a lot. So we're able to move the client to make a new referral to another agency. Some of our clients are also unable to self-care in wheelchairs, require medication, things like that. We have to know these things in order to be sure that we're sending our clients to the correct agency. 30 days out and ban out sounds like about the same thing. Not necessarily. If they was enrolled in a program last week decided, I don't want to do your program. Is there a 30-day out? Do they have to wait 30 days? Is it more or is it indefinite?
Okay, real quick, any questions for Kathy? Any concerns? I'm gonna check the chat real quick. There's no questions there. Any questions, concerns, or anything else before we go over? I'm gonna pull up while we're chatting. I'm gonna pull up real quick the matrix. And we actually just pulled two of the Home for Good programs here to show this matrix. So hang on one second, Kathy. Once I get it pulled up, if you want to go over it, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. This is mine and Tammy's baby. All righty. So as you see, this is how we're breaking it down, and it really helps us. You see that everything across the top is everything that was just explained. We've basically put in simple yes or no, so no one feels overwhelmed or has to do a ton of typing.
And Kathy, if I can jump in really quickly,
Sure.
for those of you who've been around for some time, you remember our original and our subsequent updated coordinated entry matrix were Word documents with lots of columns going down that were very, you had to literally read the whole thing. And I guess this is where we really need some input. Like Kathy said, this was made to be simple yes or no's. A lot of clicking of what the eligibility, those kinds of things, the types of programs and all of those come from the HUD program setup that we're required to have from HMIS. So you have lots and lots and lots of selections there, but we didn't want folks to have to, well, I don't know what they're going to call it. This is you know, this pretty standardized so that a filtering can take place. Now I'm going to hush Kathy so you can talk about the filtering and why that's necessary.
Oh, the filtering is an amazing thing. I love it. Anybody who works with items like this, and this much data at one time, you know how important filtering is. And we definitely wanted to make sure that it was simple and for everybody to use. Do not worry. Once your stuff is in, it will be locked in. So I'm sending you this. Maybe you accept clients right where Pat was at. Maybe you won't accept them with an open warrant, but just because they have a case open, you can, they can still come in if they have a case open.
So in other words, you can filter by each of the selections. Is that what you're saying, Kathy?
Correct. Yes. And, again, sex offenders, and with everything that's on here, maybe you'll take somebody with a driver's license. A driver's license is required, a picture ID, but the Social Security and stuff is not. Okay, great.
Right.
Well, here we go. And we're going to narrow it down.
Right.
Right. I also know that my person has a service animal. So they just have a service animal. Only thing they need, you must have a service animal. And then at the, once it's all said and done, we hit the little magic button. I can see exactly how many people pop up that fit my criteria.
Did you want to go over this two-part? I just saw this too, Kathy, talking about the contact person.
Yes, please get me down to the contact. Okay, on the program point of contact, that'll be the person, like I said, if you are an agency that has 3, 4, 10 different programs going, and they're responsible for the referrals that they get, non-congregate shelter here, we all know is Miss Nashada. So we have all of her information in one spot. That way Nashada gets it. So again, is the person who is the point of contact for said program is whose information needs to be in the box.
Hey, Kathy, I'm sorry. I was over here raising my hand like you could see me.
I seen you.
So I was just thinking for point of contact. So for instance, if the referral person for, you know, the emergency shelter is Pat, but Pat's going out, ha ha ha, you know, on maternity leave for 6 weeks. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Can I change it temporarily and then change it back?
Absolutely. As long as we get that email, it's make sure the email comes to, you know, either Tammy or myself, and that way we can make the adjustments. These adjustments aren't just for our use. This also goes into our client track, which is where the referrals come from, so that we've got to make sure everything in this matches client track.
Right.
So we can run it without squeaking as bad.
Okay, so if someone changes it, they can change it back as many times. It's just so that we know. Because like Kathy said, if the referrals come through client track, once the referral is sent, your of course, the person who's the point of contact gets a email that says, hey, you have a referral, and they have to go into client track and look. Well, if there's a bounce back saying Pat's on maternity leave for 6 weeks, that doesn't show up in client track. So that referral is just sitting out there. So yeah, make sure we do those updates as much as possible. And we will be doing it at least once a year, across the board, but as many times as we need to, adding programs, or also, and Kathy, I just thought about this, and maybe this is something we might want to discuss here. We may have a block that says currently accepting referrals, currently yes or no. For instance, if Pat's shelter runs out of funds until the next funding year, and she's required to have referrals through coordinated entry, but she doesn't have any money to pay for the shelter anymore. She can't admit anybody else. Would we want to have a way for Pat to notify us, so in a standardized way, so that we can put it on hold?
I'm sure that between you and I, we could come up with something by the end of the day to add that in there.
Well, I think we need to ask these folks that are on here, these, you know, the Crystals and the Devlons and the Terrys, about what their thought process is. Somebody's put something in the chat here.
Miss Katie did.
Because yes, does Matrix only address shelters, or can it include prevention programs? Well, Miss Katie, you're about 4 steps ahead of us, and someone's going to think that we planned this out. But actually, Kathy and I were talking earlier, and we have several tabs to the Matrix. Those that are required to have referrals through coordinated entry are on one big sheet, and the other programs that normally are referred through 211 and all that the clients are normally referred through. We have a tab for those as well, just to make sure that everybody is saying the same thing. And we're going to be coordinating with Candace at 211 for those that are not required for coordinated entry, but just making sure that everyone has the same information. And actually we go over and steal it from 211. Okay, and so yes, absolutely, prevention programs, absolutely. And going forward, prevention programs are going to play a bigger part of everything that we do going forward. And I'm not going to get on that soapbox, but yes, absolutely, prevention programs are going to be included. And then Liz is saying, will the Excel sheet be on your website, Google Sheet? Yes, it will go on our website as soon as everybody has, well, I say as soon as everybody has made the changes. We're going to give everyone until a 2-week period to review everything, because it's the first of the month. Everybody's, you know, doing everything, and everybody's reports are due and everything else to do it. And then by May the 1st, the coordinated entry matrix will be updated on the website. That will coincide with some other updates that we're doing, but also that will coordinate with some project setup information we're going to have. So I have someone that says, saying that the program is out of funds would suffice. My concern with having it go to just one person rather than just having a standardized form that is part of the setup would mean that maybe the referrals were not coming from, especially if it's a program that does not require a coordinated entry referral. So your other community partners are saying, hey, call Pat, she's got the prevention program, or she's got the shelter program, or whatever, and the client calls over and they get the, so if we have a way that we can inform all of us, and again, looking at the sheet on the website on a regular basis as it's updated would be a great way to keep that up. And the same way that 211 takes down or inactivates a referral, agency referrals when the program runs out of money, we want to operate very much the same way. Can we update it anytime, or do we direct? We would prefer, in fact, we will put, with the matrix being on the website, it will actually be, yeah, we're gonna, let's come up with a format for it would be very much like you do your project setups now, but we'll have the form out there for updates so that anybody can update it at any time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we want everyone to have the update, be able to update it at any time. And eventually, as we grow and we get a little bit better at some of this, we will be able to do, we have some things in the work for being able to do updates directly in ClientTrack that cover referrals, that cover your project setup and all, that put it in a pending status, and then we go in and make those updated changes so that it's done automatically. But that's a few months down the road. But so yes, having those things done automatically would be great. Again, making sure that everybody's informed is always the key here. Any other questions on that, Kathy, as I started rambling again?
I don't have any questions.
So we'll put in there, we'll add to our list a drop down or a column for currently accepting referrals, yes and no. One other thing I don't think we went over here on the sheet, Kathy, was this primary eligibility. And again, we only have 2 of our Home for Good programs here because we didn't want to put anybody else's stuff on display until we had a chance to one more time take that fine-tooth comb over it. And please do not hesitate to say, no, this is not correct, and let's fix it together when you get your program matrix here. But this primary eligibility here, I'm gonna show you our little cheat sheet here that shows where I can find it here. Here we go. And in fact, we have another one here. We have, oh, there it is. So these are the primary eligibilities for the programs that we currently have in our coordinated entry system. If yours is different, flag it, something, and let's talk about it so we can add it to the eligibility. Anything that does not meet, for instance, on your gender identification, if your program will take someone who is, transgender, but was male at birth or female at birth or whatever, it's obviously not a yes or no. Yes or no are our standard answers. Flag it. Let's make it, let's put those in there, but we want to make sure that we pay special attention to that. As much as we can have the yes or no, it makes it much easier to make those quick referrals and more accurate referrals. So I wanted to make sure we talked about eligibility. So if there's eligibility that you have that is not covered in the drop downs when you get your program matrix, please, please, please holler. And let's take a look at it. If I thought I was just sharing my screen.
You're not.
I was not. So let me show you what I was talking about right here. This eligibility. These are the ones we currently have in our matrix. Imminent risk of homelessness, homeless under other statutes, fleeing, DV, literally homeless, and those who were HIV positive for our HOPWA programs. So again, project types and all those things, the unit types, the target populations, all of those things come from the HUD project setups that are part of HMIS setups. So we're trying to pull it all together because no, I'm sorry. Because once we get our matrix all nice and pretty and everybody has reviewed theirs and it's absolutely the way they want it to be, and it meets all of their criteria and really spells out and showcases their program, we take that and we make sure and compare that to their program setup in HMIS and make sure that everything across the board there matches, because one affects the others and vice versa. And like I said, that's the next step in making sure that everything is correct, yes, but also being able to automate that process going forward so that you as program managers, directors, agency managers, and directors will be able to go into HMIS or your designee, make your tentative changes to your program, send it, and as soon as you hit save, myself or Wally, our client track admin, will get an email, or both of us actually, and say, hey, there's been a change to the program setup. We will go in, make sure we review it with you to make sure that those were the changes you indeed wanted to make, and boom, it will become live. So that you will be more in control of your programs and projects. It will be more timely. And again, as we all know, going through the past year and a half, things can change on a dime. So being able to be flexible and have that control and that automation, I think will go a long way in pushing our system forward and making sure that we can meet the needs of the clients. Because again, your program may change. You may see a need for something and say, you know what, we were going this way. We're going to make some adjustments. So that's the next step in this journey together. Any questions on that?
There's a question in here from
Yes.
Miss Liz.
Huh?
She's asking, how are decisions made for which housing program a client is directed to?
Well, they're based on the needs of the client, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to go to the yes, no criteria, or the yes, no selections, and more of the standardized, I hate the word standardized, the very definitive responses. Do they have to be literally homeless? Do they take males or females or families or single male households or single female households? All of those standardizations, so that it can be click, 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 and then you have the program selections go from 32 to 4, and then if you're looking at it from a coordinated entry standpoint, and Tammy and Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, your last referral went to ABC program, and that the client meets the criteria for that one, but they also meet the criteria for the next one, which is CDE program. So you'll send it to CDE next time.
Correct. Unless the client specifically asks to be referred to a certain agency. Understand that we have come across that several times. Well, I already know Pat at ABC, and she is helping me with these 3 things already, or these 2 things. And I really like Pat. So could you make my referral back to Pat? That is the thing that happens. Quite often, actually. And at that point, it's our responsibility again to take care of the client. So if client says, I want to go to agency ABC, I'm sending the referral to agency ABC.
Yep. Thank you. And it's going to be an ever evolving process to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the clients and making the referrals as expeditiously and efficiently as possible. But again, having the criteria, do you require income? Do you require the client to have all of their identification before they get there? Can you take someone with an open warrant? All of those things make it so much easier, again, to filter through and to see the answers. You know, we went again from 32 programs that take single mail, for instance, to those who take a single mail with an open warrant. That may be one or two. So that trying to, those filters, we hope will hone up and shore up and refine the process. Any other questions? Okay, so any agency updates? Anybody got anything going on? I know Salvation Army's got a few things going on. We've got some of your flyers here. James, did you want to talk about some of the events you guys got coming up?
Such as what?
I'm sorry?
Such as what?
Oh, you had some appreciation event coming up.
Oh yeah, that's next week.
Mhm.
It's Salvation Army Week, and we celebrate that out here. I think it's the 12th. I think we have something at the store. You can swing by and get a donut or a hot dog. And
Oh,
then,
cool.
and then I think on the 16th, everybody's invited to the church. We have a couple guest speakers up there. So
Yeah, we got some flyers that were
yes.
yeah. So we'll
Just had
send
a
those
fresh
out.
memory there. Just that's all.
That's all. Yep. Gotcha.
And we do actually have a job fair Friday here at 2nd Avenue for security guards, unarmed security guards. They'll be here, I think, between 10 and 11. So if they have anybody that might qualify or you think might qualify, send them on down.
So wow, do you have any addition? Do you have a flyer or anything that we can send out to everybody?
Yeah, I believe they sent me one yesterday. So it's nothing big, it's just the one. But yeah, I'll send it out so you can push it out
That
to
would be
all
great.
friends and family.
Do you know any of the requirements or restrictions?
No, I don't have anything. They just asked to use our facility.
Awesome. That's great. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things that we're looking to make sure that we include going forward in our announcements. We're going to be transitioning some of our would have been our weekly announcements to bi-weekly in the next coming couple of weeks. We'll be transitioning from having all of our HUD updates on there on a weekly basis to creating a special, probably Facebook group for the HUD announcements and all. Of course, we will also send them out via email to all of our COC members. But one of the highlights or one of the things that we want to make sure we put in our new announcements going forward is making sure of any job fairs and any other employers who are looking for employees, job openings. Also, we're trying to put out the word if we have available housing available. Landlords are looking to partner about their open units and those kinds of things too. So that's really exciting. So please do send us that information, James. Any other agency updates? Anything anybody needs to know about what's going on?
I just want to know, this is Katie from St. Anne's.
Hey.
Is anybody else doing the Georgia Rental Assistance Program and kind of be curious about their experience? We've been doing it now for like 2 months and it is an incredibly frustrating process. So I was just curious if anyone else has participated in that. That's the portal set up by the state where you can be navigators to help clients apply for rental assistance from the state. Is anyone else doing it on here?
We are, and we found the same thing, Katie. Very, very frustrating, very irritating. Had some difficulty getting direct answers to questions. When we asked for guidance on this, that, or the other, it's we've not gotten definitive answers on a lot of things. So it's been a very, very frustrating, arduous process.
We're probably filed now about 25 applications. We haven't seen a single one get paid, and it's been some close to 2 months now.
Wow.
So we're just kind of, we're just curious. So do you know, do you have a list, Pat, of who all is participating in that? I'm kind of curious.
Here locally, no, I don't, but I think, hey, Adam, from DCA, but I know that Rob Scott from Columbus Consolidated Government had put out a list. So if you'd like, I can find that list for you and get it over to you.
You see it. So I just that would be great to find out who all is else so that we can even, we're getting more and more referrals. I'm not sure how many more we want to handle, just because it's a very time consuming process. So.
Pat,
Please
can
jump in,
I?
Adam.
Okay, so let me first start by saying I don't work directly on the rental assistance team, but as a rep of DCA, I'll also say I just came from one of the first of many expected webinars that they're going to host. This one was for landlords, and another one is going to be coming along soon, and they do plan on having one shortly just for tenants, kind of guidance for that. And they've also made some videos that are on a YouTube channel. Let me see if I can, I'll find that.
Yeah, they sent us some videos, which was they're real general, and I think that's part of the problems. And a lot of the clients, have very specific situations, and but more of what we're seeing, and the DC, I know they're working hard to try to rectify it. We have a person now that we have direct contact with.
Oh, good.
Which is really helping. It's just, it's kind of been a learning curve. Like the more we apply, the more we get back as having problems, the more we're like, oh, we were supposed to do that. Oh, okay. Well, we didn't realize that, and, we can't go back and fix that lack of training in the beginning.
Right.
It's the way, and DCA, I think, has changed a little bit about the expectations. And then you also have lots of different reviewers. And, like we've had, for example, someone who made $5,000 a year get turned down for making too much income because they misread the application. They thought it was $5,000 a month. And so then we had to go through the appeal process. But it's just, I was just curious, and we have unfortunately, what's happening is when you become a navigator, the landlords and the clients think that you somehow have some
Yes.
control over what's happening with your application. So we're getting bombarded with calls from both sides, like, when am I getting paid? Why can't I tell from the portal this? I mean, I even have people calling me from Alabama asking me questions about the application. I'm like, I really can't help you. But so anyway, it's and then and maybe you can answer this, Adam, is how much money's left? Like, we don't know, like, do we keep spinning out more applications, or are they almost done awarding them?
Nah, as far as I know, keep going.
Okay.
I know that there's not been a lot of payments made, and frankly, there's been a lot of landlord errors, and so that's one of the other reasons why they were doing this outreach this afternoon for them. I mean, some of it is, filling out the W-9 wrong, or this, or different things that can mess up a lot of things, that chain. At the start of the month, we were at kind of 2/3 to 1/3 in terms of matching two landlords to tenants. So just making sure that we get the buy-in from both sides, I
Yeah.
think has been one thing that slowed it down. But as far as I know, there has not been any talk about slowing it down or cutting it off.
I will give you some feedback that you're welcome to carry back.
So I will do it.
We're starting to have landlords that say they don't want to participate because they're being advised by their legal representatives that once they participate, they're kind of locked in and they feel like it's going to restrict their ability to evict later. And that
Yes.
also we're hearing landlords just saying, it's too much. No one's getting paid. It's just too much work. We refuse to do it. So we didn't run into that in the beginning, but we're really starting to see it now. And I know that the
Yeah.
tenant can still apply without the landlord.
Mhm.
I have one now that's going through the works where the landlords refuse. So I know it's possible, but
Yeah. It's definitely a case of trying to build the airplane while we're flying it. And that was brought up. That kind of paragraph that you're talking about, the legal issues, was brought up in this info session. Whether or not you can raise the rent. And so and the talk about whether non-monetary, monetary. We're trying to tell people that, or they, that way it's not me, that it only applies as long as the assistance is being paid. If you're, for instance, if you're applying for future rent payments, you can't change the lease terms
right.
to ask for higher then. And then with the evictions, there's, I don't know if they're going to change how that phrasing looks. I don't know if our legal team is going to do that. I mean, that they have also been clear that if the lease ends, and this kind of goes to your second point too, about the non-pay, about taking so long to get paid, well then, and if they non-renew and lose the tenant, well then they'll lose the access to get those funds. So they have to keep the tenant in there. So they are aware of that. I just don't know if there's going to be any policy changes, but I'll keep it going up. I am trying to work very hard to cross market with them in terms of, here's an avenue for current tenants, and then for agencies that have rapid rehousing, you do have vacant units that do come up, and I'm just afraid that it is causing some negative tastes in landlords' mouths for other programs as well. When we are able to finally spend prevention dollars under some other grants, or so that's been something that I myself have been pretty vocal for in that regard. So, but I'll let them know.
There's certainly getting some payments out there would speak volumes.
Yes.
The longer landlords are sitting. And I think what one of the hiccups is the communication. I'll give, for example, we have landlords that kind of need as much help as the clients. I mean, because they're either elderly or they're just not computer savvy or whatever. But one of the issues is if you're a navigator, I have the sign on for someone's account. I can go on and it'll say more documentation needed, but it won't tell me what. And I have to get the client. Only the client knows because they email the client. Well, a lot of our clients, they're using an email for the application, but it's not necessarily they actually have access to or check. So they're getting emailed instructions that just disappear. So that's been kind of hard because it's not clear why applications aren't moving. It is helping because I do have a rep now and we're trying to communicate, but it's obvious I'm not the only one asking her a million questions a day. But I thought, to be honest, when I signed up to do this, I thought, well, this sounds pretty straightforward. I can put this many hours a week to doing this, and it's ending up taking like 20 to 30 hours a week. I mean, it could be a full-time job. That's been a little frustrating. So, but anyway, I was hoping, if there were other people doing it, we could kind of share our success, figure out what it is that works. So.
And Katie, I wish I could tell you we've had a lot of success, but unfortunately I can't.
But if you have that list, I haven't seen that. I mentioned that to about getting a list, but I haven't seen it. So.
Yeah, I will dig it up. You'll have it before this night is over. I will go through, because I know it came out from Columbus Consolidated Government when we first, it was first, when the rental assistance program just first came out.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then
Other- Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
Alan. Go,
And
go.
then one other thing is I did put in the chat that we are, that the statewide apartment association, even though it says Atlanta, they're kind of one and the same. We're doing another info session for landlords. It's going to cover both of these. It's going to cover both the rental assistance program and partnerships to make with vacant units. Kind of similar to some other things that we've done with the Columbus Association earlier this year.
Mhm.
So if you do have any landlords that are interested about it, somebody from the rental assistance team will be on hand for Q&A. I imagine that there will be more Q&A for their portion than my portion, but that's another resource I can offer you to have available. That's all
I
for
did-
me. Sorry.
No, Adam, oh, please don't. I just clicked on that link and it says page not found.
Oh, let me make sure I did the right one. Or that I copied everything.
Okay, yeah, if you will, and when is that webinar and all, or is that?
It is
supposed to be the-
this Thursday at 10.
Okay, because we'll make sure we send it out to everybody, of course, that's in attendance.
Okay.
Liz said it takes time. She got the message and then it loaded. So, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure.
There's- Yeah, I just clicked it myself and it worked. So don't know.
Okay, well, let me see if I can make sure it works and then, there we go. Yep, Thursday, May the 6th. Yep, so I will make sure everybody gets this out. There's 407 seats still remaining. We'll put this in our slides as well. Anybody else with any agency updates? Cheryl, did you have anything to bring us from the Department of Public Health?
Yeah, it seems like I am Department of Public Health these days, ain't I?
Yes, you are.
So I know there's been a lot of talk about vaccine hesitancy and so forth. We're still doing vaccines. It's, of course, the GEMA site is going to be leaving here shortly. Their last day is the 21st. They're doing only the Johnson & Johnson vaccines now and second shot Pfizer. So if you got your first shot down there, make sure you get down there to get your second shot. Because we do Moderna here. So if you don't get your second shot from GEMA, that might be a little bit of an issue. Just, I want to encourage everybody. So I got Moderna and I've got Pfizer. I've got everybody in my family. We've all been vaccinated. No serious, effects. A little sore arm, maybe I took a day off just because I could, But I really want to encourage you, if you haven't, please look at the science. Remember your flu vaccine that you get every year, and that is a flu vaccine, is brand new every year. So when people are like, oh, this vaccine is brand new, and I'm like, so's your flu. Every year it's a brand new vaccine. So, try not to get wrapped up in a lot of newness in it. RNA technology is going to be used, was being used to create cancer, fighting cancer with it. So, it's been around for quite a while. We're just happy that, we were able to develop some vaccines for COVID. So enough for COVID. I want to talk a little bit just briefly about overdose prevention. This program, of course, has been extended, and when something's extended, that's not good. That means things are going bad. So good for me, bad for the rest of the world. We're still focused on getting people into treatment, expanding that treatment. I do have approximately 11 or 12 people in the program right now paying for their medication. This program's going to be winding down pretty quick. It was basically, they gave me money. They said, spend it and see if you can slow down overdose. And I figured if I could get people into treatment, that might slow down overdoses. And it has. The people who have gotten into the treatment and have stuck with it, they're doing very good, and they're very grateful to have an opportunity to get free treatment. Of course, New Horizons will be continuing the program after I step out and quit paying. But trust me, the price of buprenorphine, which is the Suboxone, buprenorphine is the generic name, has gone down drastically. It only costs between, I want to say between $30 to $60 a month for a maintenance dose now. When my daughter was had come out and had decided this time she was going to do it, and she did. But we had to pay to see the doctor. We had to pay for any tests. We had to pay full price for her prescription, which at that time, buprenorphine, Suboxone was $250, $300 a month. So, the price has drastically dropped. There's a program available that is very low cost. Everybody that's in my program is getting ready to transition to be able to pay for their own, because it is individuals in methadone clinics, that's $12 a day. So think about that, $400 a month those individuals are paying, so they can transition from methadone to buprenorphine. That is an option for them. So I do encourage anybody who's got anybody with clinic, let them know about this. This is an opportunity to go to New Horizons. Not only, your dependence to the opioids taken care of, but also get your mental health checked out. So that's the best part about being down there. So anyways, also busy with Narcan. I am running 100 different directions. Of course, ODMAP, which is the tracking system that law enforcement's going to be using to track the overdoses. Sumter County's jumping on board. I'm getting a lot of response from the rural counties. That's all right. We'll take them because we want to track. We want to track the overdoses. It's a awesome tool. As soon as we can get Columbus on board, it'll be great. So where the information from EMS and law enforcement will be combined, and you'll be able to see hot spots. You'll be able to see where drug trafficking's coming in through different counties. It's an amazing tool that law enforcement should jump on board with, and I'm sure they will now that we're kind of through this COVID thing. Praise the Lord. I feel like I can see the other side. So, but I'm still doing trainings for nonprofits. So you want to get this Narcan in you're serving this at-risk community. I do go down to Homeless Resource Network. I won't be there this next month, and I won't be there in May, but I'll be back in June. It's always the fourth Thursday. I hang out down there for the day and pass out Narcan to anybody who wants to, who drives up. And even if they don't want it, I'll talk them into taking it because they'll know somebody. I'll start talking about, you know, somebody that's using heroin, you know, somebody that's using pills. And they'll be like, yeah. I said, can you take this to them? And they're like, absolutely. So the more doses we can get out on the street, the more lives we can save. And together, if we save a life, we've made progress. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so important, is that we continue to save these lives of the individuals that have been trapped in this addiction. And once they get to a point, you know, they're going to want treatment and they can get their lives back. It's possible. So there's a story in America's Time Recorder about a girl named Cindy. I think y'all know her. So you ought to check it out. It'll be in Wednesday's edition. And they're doing a whole series on addiction, and it's very good. I enjoyed their first article, and their second article is also very good. So very informative information. Just remember, overdoses, it's not just here in Columbus, it's throughout the district. So if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've seen fake pills, let me know. So we're constantly, right now we're in the midst of an investigation with these fake Percocets and fake Xanax. I had a person talk about an overdose this past month. He took them. He relapsed, had taken one and had to use the Narcan that I gave him. So, well, his wife used it. He can't use it on himself, of course, but you know, we're saving lives and that's what's important. And I thank y'all's support. I appreciate anything I could do to help you and support you in whatever you're doing. You know, if you got something, you're like, let's focus on addiction, you know, let me know, because that's me now. I'm addiction prevention and education. So it's no longer just opioids. They've expanded it. So of course, with extension, you get expansion.
Yes,
So more stuff, no more money. But thank y'all for letting me talk for just a few minutes.
thank you, Cheryl. Any other agency updates? I know we've gone over just a little bit. Let me make sure oh, that's gonna bring up let me go to my, the flyers we talked about for Salvation Army of Customer Appreciation Day. And DCS is having some behavioral health and disabilities workshops. That's tomorrow. DBHDD has some things going on, the celebration and then the resources from today's meeting. We'll send, of course, all of this will be out probably first thing in the morning because we're a little bit over and all of us at Home for Good have another meeting that we're already heading to. Any other before we go? Check the chat real quick. If anyone did not put their name and agency in the chat box, please do so. I'm going to go ahead, Adam, and add you to that list so we can make sure we just have everybody that was in attendance today. That would be great. All right, we're going to give it 30 seconds. And if nobody has anything to say, we're going to close this thing on out. All right, well, thank you for a great meeting, guys. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. It looks like the storm is heading our way, so everybody be careful going home if you have to get on the roads. And we'll talk with everyone soon. Bye.